of those musical influences that you were daring enough to share with the world on this album?
I think, of the more obvious ones, definitely Rusty. There's a big kind of Stallions as a whole is a bit of an homage to Slasher by Rusty, which is
a jam.
One of the coolest songs ever.
I dare you to find a better future-based song.
I feel like everybody remembers the first time they heard Slasher.
Like,
or at least we do.
Yeah.
Rusty's a huge one.
Yeah. Hudson Mohawk as well.
Hudson Mohawk's
Hudson Mohawk and Lunas, Tonight Project. Big
Jamie
XX, Skrillex, Porter.
I saw you guys had Jamie XX in your Dummo Loop video.
Yeah, we did.
I saw it.
Yeah. Little Easter egg. But Kanye West, Aphex Twin. It's all over the place. But I feel like J. Paul's a huge one.
Bon Iver. Like, the more we think about it, it goes forever.
But I feel like Michael hit the big ones for sure.
Those are all great, and everyone in the chat is agreeing with you. Everyone loves Rusty. Noelle Christine thinks Luke and Hudson are twins. Unpopular opinion. I don't know if that's a secret. Someone
Scottish accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Maya227 even just dropped a Justin Vernon Hart. That's how you know they're a real fan. They went for the full name, not the Bon Iver.
JV Love.
Oh, fucking Sid loves my shoulder friend. Thanks, fucking Sid. Yeah, well, I love getting all of those in, and I don't know why people would be afraid to show their love for such things and put it all in an album.
I think it's like it's a relatively new thing. I think with like social media, like, you know, you can be like you can be anybody in the world, and, you know, you share your art on Twitter, and equally anybody else in the world can be right below you on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, it's like kind of this like weird like. And so, like,
that's true.
You like share your new song, and I think a lot of people's like knee-jerk reaction just to like quickly like get an opinion out on something is like, oh, this sounds like this, and like a bit of like a gotcha way where it's like, oh, like you're not terribly slick. Like, I know where you're like, I know what you're listening to. I know where you got this from. And I think like a lot of artists tend to like hear those kinds of things and like get like shocked a bit and like take a step back, and they're like, oh, like I like. This doesn't sound enough like me or whatever, you know? And I think, I don't know, I just think it's like sort of carried this negative stigma over time. And I don't know, we don't really feel that way. I think honestly, a lot of that actually came from Porter, truth be told. Like he is really like rubbed off on us quite a bit in terms of like having like a really like happy and like fun attitude towards things. And I think like, I don't know, that's made me, like, in general, he's made me a whole lot less self-conscious about, like, our music, like, sounding like XYZ. Like, throughout the entire process of making this thing, he was constantly saying, like, oh, I don't feel like you guys have anything to prove to anybody, which was, like, really, like, sound advice.
Yeah, that's great advice. And he that's nice to hear, because he also seems to be kind of like a flag bearer for that attitude, right? Like, he a few times now has been like, fuck it, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, totally.
Do you think that sort of thinking is more pervasive in the bass music world? Because I think that's kind of where you guys first made your entrance, and I could see how maybe like dubstep producers or bass heavy producers could feel a little bit more of that pressure to like stay hard, almost like in the way that like heavy metal bands in the 80s and 90s or something, like, oh no, you made a ballad, or like you sold out, or some sort of weird shit like that.
I think you're right on the money. It was especially kind of, our roots are obviously in, you know, dubstep and bass music and all that fun stuff. And I remember we were kind of, it got a little frustrating for us, I think, because that was like kind of that is a big talking point amongst a lot of artists. And it's kind of, instead of sort of,
it's like everybody's trying to make like the craziest sound.
Yeah.
And
right.
kind of got their own technique. So like if you're really in tune with what's going on in the scene, you can hear a song without knowing who it is, and you can pick up on little things, and you can say, oh, I can tell that this is XYZ, whatever.
Wow, that's good.
Like, I mean, I feel like the classic scenario with that was like whenever like Skrillex and Zomboy had their like All Is Fair and like Terror Squad thing, where, you know, those two songs like simultaneously coexisted, and like it was sort of like this chicken or the egg moment, and like I don't know, there was a, you know, from there on out I feel like everybody was commenting on everyone's songs being like, oh, this sounds like Terror Squad, you know, which was like kind of turned into a meme at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a very competitive scene to be in, and I think our heart like got less and less in that sort of like competition of like trying to make the like newest and like biggest and craziest sound, because like we felt like we had accomplished that in a lot of ways. I think like we really felt like we, you know, I don't know, we've made a whole lot of bass music, and it's all really good.
Yeah.
And so we feel really fulfilled in that, and I think you know, this album was an opportunity to like show people like, hey, like, you know, we can, you know, we have like Lemonades and Ultra Cover on the album, but we also have like Don't Fight It and like Shift on the album, you know what I mean? And they all come from the same three people, you know, because that was actually a big talking point I remember for a while, was if we were going to cut the bass songs on the album or not, because we didn't want the record to be too jarring to people who's like, that maybe wasn't their jam. But we ultimately landed on this like decision where we were like, no, this is all us. This is all like a part of us as people. These are all like things that we relate to, things that we like. And so like, you know, what's the point of like dumbing that down for somebody else, or like not being fully authentic with this thing? So
there's a really great tweet from A-Track where he says something along the lines of, we all listen to different types of music, so why are we all playing the same songs in our sets? And I think that like, we were like,
a very aha
moment.
Yeah.
We were like, oh yeah, you know, that makes sense. You listen to different music.
Yeah, it's true. I've commented a few times how I feel like in quarantine with so many DJs jumping on Twitch, I feel like it's given DJs an opportunity to be a little bit more varied in the stuff that they play, because it's one thing if you're playing to a club and then you take your USB to another club 3 hours later, or like somewhere else or whatever. But if everyone's tuning into your stream, they don't want to hear the same set like every night. So you're kind of like, let me flex this DJ muscle.
Yeah. And speaking on that, like you're totally right. Like that was sort of like the ethos behind our Secret Sky set was, you know, we played a lot of songs in there that we might not play in a club setting. You know, we played songs from like the Japanese House and Jai Paul and 1975, all of these bands and artists that we like really love, and we were like, look, like we're like not like having to read a room here, like this, like, you know, we can make this set like quite literally like, you know, whatever we want it to be, and so we took a lot of pride in like really meticulously planning that set and making sure that it was like chock full of music that we love, that like might not, you know, we might never play again in a DJ set, but given the circumstances it felt like the right time.
What would you think would be the most surprising influence on world famous tour?
Big tour. It is famous.
I would probably, I mean, we've hinted at it before, but I feel like the 1975 is a much bigger influence on our music than most people would think. We're really big 1975 fans. At least me and Luke are.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much. Michael likes a lot of their
stuff.
Michael
liked that latest record.
Yes, but me and Luke have been like, Luke especially is definitely the biggest one. But
I would say like, God, I said this in my head and now it sounds so snotty, but like I really like My Bloody Valentine and like Cocktail Twins a lot.
Yes.
Which is like very traditionally like snooty music, but I earnestly just really enjoy it. And a lot of the writing, especially on like Heaven or Las Vegas by the Cocktail Twins, is like some of my favorite.
Cocktail Twins.
It's just like it's so like
it's amazing.
It's so like happy and like dreamy, and like I think we discovered that record in like 2019. I think like 2018. I think, right? We were going to Lights All Night and we listened to it. It was 2018. And yeah, I remember listening to that album while driving to this New Year's festival in Dallas. Just being like really like blown away at how every song was so good. Like I remember like listening to the first song, I was like, this is great. Second song, this is great. Third song is great. And then you get to the fourth one, and I was like, there's no way all of these songs are this good.
Right, yeah. Where's the part where we go to take a bathroom break? What's going on?
Yeah.
And that album just like played and it just finished, and I was just like, wow, that was a really incredible piece of music. So yeah, we also I really like a lot of that like shoegazy. Oh, yeah. I feel like this is really worth mentioning too. I always forget it. Like Koji Kondo and like Junichi Masuda, who like write all of the music for like Pokemon, and like Koji Kondo has written like every single piece of video game music ever. Like, I always forget to like list him as like an influence, but it's truly like.
Yeah.
Most of the Koji Kondo music is like some of the only music that will like really make me cry on the spot. Like a lot of the stuff for like the Pokemon games that like Junichi Masuda has done, like all of that music is like very like subconsciously like dug itself into our brains.
Yeah,
and I think
100%.
I actually didn't even really hear it on the album, but there was somebody in our Discord who was like, oh, like Shift sounds like something that would be out of Pokemon Emerald. And I was like, oh, like yeah, that's like, yeah, you're probably right. And then they literally converted, like they rewrote Shift with Pokemon Emerald sound fonts.
Whoa.
And I like almost cried listening to it. It sounded so perfect.
Oh
so,
my
like,
god!
Like I was really happy to listen to that. And I think like after they said that, I was like, oh yeah, like no shit that like all of this music that like we grew up listening to when we were kids, like
It's
like,
found its way in.
Yeah.
It's so true.